Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and all throughout the month of September, I'll be covering movies based on the work of Stephen King. Since It Chapter 2 comes out on September 5th, and Dr. Sleep comes out in November, I figured, what better time to review some Stephen King movies? My one rule about this series is that I'm only going to be covering movies based on Stephen King's work. I'm not going to be covering any of the miniseries, with one obvious exception. And they don't have to be theatrically released either. And with all that in mind, let's kick off the month by covering all three versions of One Killer Clown. You see what I did there? Let's start off by talking about Stephen King's It. This was released as a TV movie split up into two parts in 1990 on ABC. And it was based on the book of the same name written by Stephen King. It tells the story of a group of childhood friends who reunite in their hometown to defeat an evil force of nature known only as It, who, while it takes many forms, is most recognizable as Pennywise the Dancing Clown, played by Tim Curry. I had always heard people talk about this series for the longest time, saying that it was just one big ball of cheese. Like, everyone was scared of it as children, but recognized that it really wasn't that scary. But I decided to take a look at it for myself. And let's just say that this was a very mixed bag. For every good thing I found, there was a thing that I just didn't like. Let's get the good out of the way first. Firstly, I loved the Losers Club, both the kids and the adults. You really did buy their whole friendship, and that nobody would give them the time of day except for each other. The chemistry between the friends did feel a little bit like Stand By Me, but at the same time it felt unique enough to where it was kind of forgiven. What links the Losers Club together is that something traumatic happened in their life. Whether they come from a broken home or they lost a loved one, whatever the case may be, all they really did have was each other, and it was very well realized. But now let's get into the thing that you want me to talk about the most, It himself, played by Tim Curry. What to say about this performance other than it's glorious in how cheesy it is? The best way I can describe it is if Ronald McDonald joined the Insane Clown Posse. Like, that's about as well as I can describe it. Curry brings such an energy to this role. Like, he brings a charisma that really couldn't be matched. And this was a guy who was really known for bringing his type of charisma to literally anything that he did. Even a ball of gas. Yes, a ball of gas. From his very unique look to his laugh to all the one-liners. Oh yes, Georgie, they float. They all float. I'll show you how to float down here. Hey, buddy, you got Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out. Wah, wah, wah. I'm sorry, I just can't go on any longer. And really what makes Tim Curry kind of scary is how unique he looks. He goes from happy-go-lucky clown to monster in literally no time flat. And yes, you can make the argument that it looks very cheesy. That's because it is. However, the makeup was really makeup. It wasn't CGI. When Curry gets hit in the face with the battery acid, this is battery acid, you slime! You can actually see half of his face just melting off. It's disturbing. For being a TV movie in the early 90s, they certainly did turn a little into a lot. However, like I said, with every good, there is a bad. The bullies in this show. I cannot stand the bullies. And I'm not even talking about the fact that they're bullies, because they're bullies. They're supposed to be disliked. They are so cliche and cartoony that they almost ruined it for me. The main bully is basically a T-Bird reject. His friend, I don't even know what his personality trait was. He was just there. And then there was this one named Belch who burps in people's faces. And that's all he does. He literally walks up to a person and goes... It's like, imagine if I burped in Harrison Ford's face over here. I didn't levy any insults, I just burped in the man's face. Like, what even are these bullies? And remember what I said, that Tim Curry brings an energy and charisma to this role? Well, he also brings a lot of silliness, sometimes to the detriment of the show. Bit of a spoiler for this show, but it was released in the 90s. If you haven't seen it by now, then, there it is. Basically, one of the Losers Club kids commits suicide when he's an adult. And when the rest of them are in Derry talking about it, one of them opens up a mini fridge, and there's the head sitting in the fridge, and it starts talking. And it is one of the more unintentionally hilarious things I've ever watched. It's basically a head in a fridge like, "Hey guys, nice to see ya." It's like, it took me so hard out of it. I was just like, what the hell? The makeup was very good. The CGI was not. Now, to be fair, this was a TV movie made in the early 90s. CGI was nowhere near as good as it is now. But it's pretty bad, folks. Basically, when this movie goes into stop motion, it looks like the California raisins are coming out. It looks really bad. Oh, and let's not forget the Stephen King cliches. Pretty much every person in this town, other than the woman and the insecure artist, are all assholes. And not in a good way. Treats the Christians like crap. Pretty much everything that you've seen in his books are in this. But really, if I'm being honest, I still had a lot of fun with this show. I'm going to give it a great rating. Is it cheesy? Yes. But I think it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. Despite it being a little too long, I still enjoyed it legitimately enjoyed it more than I actually hated it. But that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for, I want to say Wednesday, when I review It from 2017. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.